Yesterday, Donald put his stamp on the stock market as only he can. A day that I think should go down in history as Orange Thursday. Take a look.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm John Dickerson in New York, where the closing bell on Wall Street just rang. The markets closed down. The Dow slid roughly 1,600 points. The S&P 500 fell more than 4.5%. And the Nasdaq dropped nearly 6%. This comes just a day after President Trump announced his new tariff plan, which begins Saturday.
On a day like this, I always like to put it in perspective of how big of a loss this was. So you have to go back to 2020 for each of these three major indexes, the Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq, to see a single day that saw a greater loss. And so what does that mean? That was COVID.
Yeah.
Right? Investors are looking at today and sort of, at least in terms of how the market reacted, putting these two equal.
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it.
No, indeed, we have not. First of all, just a quick question. Does applauding mean something different for rich people who are watching the stock market tank? Hooray, we're all going to die. That was really weird. Okay, so let's pretend for the sake of argument that $6 to $7 trillion coming into this country because of his stupid fucking tariffs. Guess what? It all got erased yesterday, so that's just fictional. Also, as that journalist mentioned, the last time this happened was in 2020 during COVID. That's a global pandemic, the serious disruption of global supply chains. Something else was going on. Oh, yeah, mass death, mass unemployment, lots of factors contributing to the tanking of the economy. On Orange Thursday, we had one thing, the tsunami known as Donald Trump. So are we winning? As a matter of fact, Donald is, because I think he just broke the high score for leading America as quickly as possible into a global recession. JP Morgan bumped its recession odds to 60%. And this is up from 40% like 2 days ago or something, the moment Donald's tariffs hit. So where was Donald? I mean, you would think that he would be vigilantly watching the repercussions of his brilliant tariffs unfold, because Americans were pretty much, had their eyes peeled on the ticker tape, showing that their retirement accounts are just kind of disappearing before their eyes. Well, he, always understanding the priorities, was on a 3-day golf getaway. Because listen, if you've got 340 million people paying taxes for you to spend however you want, wouldn't you too go on a 3-day golf outing, no matter what else is going on in this country? So while markets tank, Donald literally ran away to Florida to host the Saudi-backed Leave golf tournament at his own resort, which means he didn't just run away from the problems he created all by himself. Well, we also have to blame the Republican Party, but we'll get to that later. He also got paid a lot of money for it. Hosting Saudis for him is a bit of a tradition. Here's Donald in 2022, cozying up to Yasser Al-Rumayyan, who's head of Saudi Arabia's Foreign Wealth Fund. And this trip, he brought props.
$5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. And you know what that card is? It's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me. I don't know, but I'm the first buyer. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks. Pretty exciting.
I'm so excited. Anyway, Donald was showing off his shiny Trump gold card, a $5 million residency for cash scheme that exempts wealthy foreigners from paying U.S. taxes on foreign income. He pitched it while en route to that Saudi hosted golf event at his club. And I wonder who he thinks might be in the market for a citizenship for cash deal. But here's a question. He said that he was going to be buying the first one. Is he trying to tell us something? Is Donald Trump not actually already a citizen of the United States of America? If that were the case, then that so many of our problems would be solved. No, it's just because he's really fucking stupid. Sorry, guys. So the program has already generated $5 billion and it's raising serious red flags about shocking corruption, national security, and blatant profiteering. Under the Trump regime, that seems absurd to me. But playing golf with oligarchs instead of handling an economic crisis that he created wasn't Donald's only disgrace of the day. And how do we even keep track of them? There are so many. But I guess that's why we're here, to keep track of the Trump regime's disgraces. Because Donald is prolific. He's a prolific failure. He's a prolific criminal. And he's a prolific disgrace. But before we dive in further, please take a second to like and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. After you do so, please just click on the bell icon because that way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. All right, let's get back to this because this is serious. While Donald was playing hooky from the Oval Office and from all of his presidential responsibilities, he also skipped the dignified transfer of 4 U.S. soldiers killed during a NATO training mission in Lithuania, a country halfway across the world turned out by the thousands to honor our troops. And remember, they were near the Belarusian border, which is a very critical and dangerous part of the world right now. Because of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine, Belarus is potentially Russia's closest ally, certainly one of them. Meanwhile, in the United States of America, their commander-in-chief was being chauffeured around a golf course by his useless son, Eric. So thank you very much to the people of Lithuania for honoring our fallen soldiers. That means a lot. However, it is not nearly enough to counterbalance the fact that the people running our country and the ostensible commander-in-chief are such vile, despicable, dishonorable people. Traditionally, even if a president does not attend the dignified transfer, they at least acknowledge the sacrifice from the Oval Office on the day of the dignified transfer. Donald couldn't be bothered, of course. Remember what he thinks about fallen soldiers. They're suckers and losers. The soldiers will return to Dover Air Force Base for final honors today. Meanwhile, Donald, who again always understands what his priorities are for himself, will be attending a MAGA Inc. candlelight dinner at Mar-a-Lago. So, since Donald can't be bothered to acknowledge our fallen soldiers, we will. Those being laid to rest for serving our country as part of the 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team, 3rd Infantry Division R, Army Private First Class Dante Di Titano, age 21, of Dededo, Guam, Army Sergeant Edwin V. Franco, age 25, of Glendale, California, Army Sergeant Jose Duenas Jr., age 25, of Joliet, Illinois, Army Staff Sergeant Troy S. Knutson Collins, age 28, of Battle Creek, Michigan. I cannot possibly imagine what the families of these young men are going through. And all I can say is that they made the ultimate sacrifice to our country and deserve so much better from us than a commander-in-chief who clearly does not care about the sacrifices. While another country honors our dead, Donald will be spending the weekend advancing his Saudi business ties. His obsession with Saudi money isn't new. He's been deep in business with the murderer of Kamal Khashoggi, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the Saudi Public Investment Fund since his first term, investors in both Leave and Trump family ventures, And the benefits have continued to trickle straight into Donald's family's pockets. Jared Kushner's investment firm Affinity Partners has seen its assets surge 60% to $4.8 billion as of early 2025, largely due to new funding from Middle Eastern sources, including Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. House Democrats have called for special counsel to investigate whether Jared is functioning as an unregistered foreign agent. Meanwhile, Donald's pushing for a PGA Live Golf merger while hosting Live events at his own clubs and bragging about his involvement.
I'll be speaking tonight. I think I'm making a speech to the players, great players, some of the best players in the world. And ultimately, hopefully, the two tours are going to merge. Because I'm involved in that too. But hopefully, we're going to get the two tours to merge, and the PGA Tour, you have the Live Tour. And I think having them merge would be a great thing.
Who can say that he's not actually doing work? But as usual, he's only doing it his own behalf because he's just a monstrous human being. And I just do not understand at this point how anybody could defend this absolutely obscene behavior. The PGA rejected a $1.5 billion Saudi offer because they know that Saudi Arabia is trying to sport wash its fortunes. But Donald keeps lobbying for a deal that, why? Why is he doing that? Because it will make him richer. And that's the only thing he cares about. So how much is all of this costing the American taxpayer? Right? Shouldn't we care? Shouldn't the fascist Republicans care about that? Especially as Donald is doing everything in his power to make America unlivable for working people. He's been to Mar-a-Lago since the inauguration on January 20th, 2025, 6 times, costing taxpayers roughly $1 million per trip, not including the extra millions in local security. Palm Beach County alone has requested $45 million just to cover the financial burden. And because Donald never divested from his businesses, every dollar spent at his clubs goes into his own pocket. Every golf event, every steak dinner, every hotel bill, every golf cart a Secret Service agent has to ride around in to protect this person. While soldiers come home in flag-draped coffins for having tried to defend our country and our markets crash because of his just sheer stupidity. Donald is cashing checks, playing host to Saudi Arabian oligarchs, and using the presidency, the office of the presidency, to continue to rake in profits on the backs of the rest of us. It's not leadership. It's a self-enrichment plan basically sanctioned by the entirety of the Republican Party, even though the Republican Party could do something to stop this. They have control over whether or not tariffs are levied, not Donald Trump, not the executive branch, and yet they are ceding this control to him on a daily basis. So yeah, we can blame Donald Trump for being such a vile, despicable, monstrously selfish, barely human being. Sure. However, let's not forget the people who continue to enable him at the expense of the American people on a daily basis. Because, again, the Republican Party could take back its control this second. Every point the Dow drops, every penny that gets added to the cost of an essential good that Americans need to survive is on them. We cannot forget that. But apparently, they don't care, just as none of them cares anymore, if they ever did, about dignity, honor, or the lives of our soldiers, or indeed the lives of the American people at all. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.